Welcome to our channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave comments. Today's story is about an apartment building. Many of us live in big cities where apartments are everywhere. Like many others, this man, let's call him Mr. A, was about to face something supernatural. If you're ready, let's dive right in. Right after high school, Mr. A joined the military. He went through a typical military life and, after several years, was discharged. He didn't know what to do next. His highest level of education was high school, and he had no particular skills. After thinking it over, he decided to call a friend who worked at a factory in an industrial zone not far from the city. Mr. A called, exchanged greetings, and said, "Hey, I just got out of the military and I don't know what to do next." Being a good friend, he tried to help and said,
"Come on over. I'll help you find work."
"Great," Mr. A said enthusiastically. But there was a problem. He didn't know where he would stay. So the friend suggested,
Okay, here's the thing. One of the units in our building is empty right now. I'll go check it out for you and see if it's okay.
After they agreed on the plan, the moving day finally came. Mr. A arrived around 8 p.m., but his friend was still at work, so he had to wait. When his friend finally got off around 9 p.m., they met, had dinner, and talked for a bit. After eating, they decided to head to the apartment his friend had promised to show him. By the time they arrived, it was nearly 11 p.m., but then his friend said something unexpected.
Hey, about the apartment, well, I booked too late, so all the rooms there are full now. You'll have to stay in another building next to ours instead.
Mr. A was confused. "Wait, I thought I was supposed to stay in the same building as you. Why another building?" He turned to look at the building. Almost all the lights were off. Mr. A's friend mumbled a quick sorry and walked ahead. The building looked dark and kind of creepy. The paint on the walls was peeling off, showing the rough concrete underneath. It was clearly an old, decaying 4-story building, and the atmosphere was unsettling and creepy. He wasn't even surprised when he was told there was no elevator. Still, he sighed and said, "Well, okay, this is it," because it was late at night and there wasn't much else he could do. It was late and pitch dark, and being in an unfamiliar place made him nervous, so he asked his friend to come inside with him to get the keys. "All right, can you come with me to get the keys?" But his friend refused.
Just go get it yourself. It's on the second floor. The room on the right, the one with the management sign on the door.
That made Mr. A stop for a second. "Wait, why aren't you coming with me?" But his friend kept refusing.
No, I'm not going. I'm too tired. You can go get it yourself.
His tone grew firmer. Mr. A found it strange. This really wasn't like him. He was the one who had even helped Mr. A get this job. Besides, it was his fault for not renting the room on time, which made Mr. A to stay in another building. The least he could do was go with him. With no other choice, Mr. A went alone. He only had one small bag with him, just some clothes, no pillow, no blanket, no bedding supplies at all. As he walked toward the building, its eerie appearance made it hard for him to take his eyes off it. He stepped inside and heard the faint sound of a TV playing somewhere. That gave him a bit of comfort. At least, the place wasn't completely empty. There must still be some residents around, he thought. He went up to the second floor and found the room that belonged to the building owner. After he pressed the doorbell, a woman who looked to be in her early 60s came out after a few minutes and asked,
"Are you the one moving in today?"
"Yes, ma'am," he replied. The woman disappeared back into her apartment without saying anything. She probably went in to get the keys, he thought. While he waited, Mr. A saw another woman, wearing a work uniform, coming up the stairs. She was quite young and attractive. He thought to himself, "Well, at least there are some decent-looking people around here." But suddenly the woman stopped walking and turned to him.
"Are you the new tenant moving in today?"
A little confused, he answered, "Yes, that's me." Then she said,
"Come on, I'll take you to your room."
He replied, "Oh, I'm still waiting for my keys. The landlady went back inside to get them." But she said,
"Don't wait for her. That old landlady went back inside, and who knows if she'll even find the keys tonight. Come on, I'll just show you the room."
Puzzled, he followed her anyway. She led him up to the 4th floor, the top floor of the building. When they reached it, the condition was terrible. The walls were damp and moldy, and a musty odor made his head spin. He thought, This place is awful. I want to go back down right now. There's no way anyone can live up here." Still, Mr. A reluctantly followed her. Then she stopped in front of a room and said,
This one. This is your room. It's already furnished with a bed, drawers, and chairs. It has everything you need. You can move in right away.
Mr. A was confused again because the room he rented was supposed to be empty, with no furniture. So he asked, Miss, the room I rented doesn't come with furniture. If I stay in this one, will there be an extra charge?" She smiled and said,
No, no extra charge. You can stay here as it is. If you need anything, just call me. My room's right next door.
Then she left. After thanking her, Mr. A decided to look inside. When he opened the door, the room was completely dark, no working lights. The only light came from outside through a broken window. The walls were stained with watermarks. There was an old window screen barely hanging on. In the bathroom, there was only a pipe and a water valve, no faucet. Right then, he knew. Something wasn't right. This room wasn't fit for anyone to live in. It looked more like a storage or cleaning room. But he tried to think positive. At least, tonight, he had a place to sleep. As his body loosened a little, he began craving a cigarette. But he was feeling tired and lazy, and walking all the way down and back up without an elevator just for a smoke felt like way too much work. So he figured he'd just head up to the rooftop instead, enjoy the view, feel the night breeze, and have his smoke there. As he made his way toward the rooftop, he noticed the hallway, and stairs were cluttered with discarded junk piled on both sides. Old furniture, boxes, broken household items. Still, there was just enough space left in the middle for him to walk through. The door to the rooftop was a large, heavy, rusted metal door. He pushed with all his strength until it finally budged, and the sight beyond it made him stumble back. Right before his eyes was a large spirit shrine built on the rooftop. It was meant to ward off ghosts and evil spirits. It had everything a typical shrine might have, figurines and offerings scattered everywhere. But all those offerings looked dried out and old, as if they had been sitting there untouched for years. It would have been unsettling if the offerings looked fresh, but they were old, a sign that there hadn't been any recent offerings, and likely no more supernatural activity. He felt no reason to worry. To the right of the shrine was a water tank covered by a small roof with laundry lines stretched beneath it. Mr. A decided he'd smoke under that little roof next to the water tank. It looked quiet and out of the way, but as he approached, he froze. The same woman who had walked him to his room earlier was standing there. He gave an awkward smile and pulled out his cigarette, but just as he was about to light it, the woman's feet suddenly lifted off the ground. She began thrashing violently in the air. Mr. A was terrified, but managed to keep his wits long enough to look closely, and realized the woman was hanging from a rope by her neck. What horrified him even more, what made his whole body break out in goosebumps, was her face. She was smiling peacefully, almost as if she were enjoying it. Her eyes gleamed with disturbing bliss as her neck strained against the noose. And even as she hung there, she let out a soft, eerie laugh echoing into the night. Now, a bit of a warning. The phrase smiling peacefully or enjoying should never be associated with someone taking their own life as something pleasant. It's the exact opposite. An evil presence can disguise itself that way. Mr. A's knees buckled. His whole body trembled violently. He couldn't move. He was paralyzed with fear. Then the woman's body began swinging side to side, as if she were dancing and enjoying herself. His ears rang, his vision blurred, and he knew, deep inside, that if he stayed there any longer, something terrible would happen to him. With his last ounce of strength, he rushed toward the stairs he had come up from and reached for the door. But when he opened it, he realized the stairway was completely blocked with piles of broken furniture, old tables, chairs, bed frames, planks of wood, all stacked up to part of the corridor. He couldn't understand how he had even managed to come up that way earlier. Seeing no other option and barely able to stand, he threw himself onto the heap of furniture, hoping it would break his fall. The crash was loud. When he looked up, about half a dozen people were standing around, staring down at him. Mr. A tried to explain. "I just fell from the stairs." Then one of them spoke.
"How did you even get up there?" Nobody's been to the rooftop in over 10 years, and that water tank, it hasn't been used for ages. We switched to city water a long time ago.
Still dazed, he muttered, I I don't know how I even got up there. I just wanted to smoke a cigarette. The hallway didn't look like that when I went up. They told him,
Well, whatever you were doing, be careful. Strange things happen in this building. Go back to your room and rest. We'll talk more in the morning.
Mr. A was still trembling, his mind blank with confusion. As he walked back to his room, he noticed that the first 3 rooms were all padlocked shut. When he turned around to look for the people who had just spoken to him, they were already gone. He thought to himself, how could everyone disappear so quickly? I didn't even hear a door closing. He walked farther down the corridor and found the rest of the rooms were also padlocked shut. No one lives on this floor. Then who were those people who had just gathered around me? Where did they come from? Panic surged again. Goosebumps erupted all over his body. He needed to get out, but he was too afraid to walk past those rooms again. Then he saw the fire escape. He hurried down to the 3rd floor. When he reached the 3rd floor, he began screaming at the top of his lungs, "Help! Help me! Ghosts! I saw ghosts!" People from the 3rd floor rushed out of their rooms.
What's wrong, kid? Calm down. Tell us what happened.
Mr. A stammered, unable to speak properly, only repeating, "Ghosts! I saw ghosts! The 4th floor, there are ghosts on the entire floor." The others looked at each other and said,
How could you even get up there? The 4th floor has been sealed off for more than 10 years.
Mr. A was hysterical, shouting incoherently. One of the tenants said,
The landlady's been looking for you. She thought you went to stay with your friends in the other building.
Soon the landlady herself came up the stairs. Her first words were chilling.
Who took you up to the 4th floor? Was it a young woman? You're lucky to still be alive. She's taken several others already.
She went on to explain that this building had a dark history. Suicides, murders, tragedies. People had hung themselves, shot themselves, died from domestic violence. And most of those incidents had happened on the 4th floor. Normally, there was a wooden barrier blocking access between the 3rd and 4th floors, but that day, workers had gone up to inspect it, because they were planning to renovate the top floor. They must have forgotten to close it afterward. The landlady then brought him to the 2nd floor room where he had originally been assigned to stay. The next morning, Mr. A's friends asked,
Hey, how's your room on the 4th floor? I saw only one light up there. It must be cozy, huh?
Mr. A replied, "There's nobody living on the 4th floor." But his friend insisted.
What do you mean? I saw you standing there by yourself.
Apparently, what his friend saw wasn't Mr. A. He had never stood near the window. It was someone else in his room's window, probably a ghost. Later, he learned the full truth. The woman he had seen, and the room he had mistakenly stayed in, had once belonged to her. People later discovered her body hanging by the neck near the water tank.